Hello everyone, hope you have been doing well. My name is Chinmaya, and in this video and some upcoming videos, I will demonstrate operations in LibreOffice Calc, which is the free and open source equivalent of Microsoft Excel. In this video, we will first have a quick look at how to download and install LibreOffice 7.4, which is the current latest LibreOffice release at the time of making this video. This should be helpful and useful for those who are new to LibreOffice and would like to give it a try. Then we'll have a quick look at how to set up the LibreOffice 7.4 user interface. If you have been using Microsoft Excel, you will find these quick settings would make the working environment quite familiar. I will then use a small example case to show basic spreadsheet operations in LibreOffice Calc. And then finally, we will use some tools and functions to solve the problem in the example case that I use for this video. If you wish to follow along, you can download a copy of the calc spreadsheet that I use in this tutorial from the link in the description below. My attempt in this tutorial is to show spreadsheet operations in LibreOffice Calc, and in that context, this tutorial is not an exhaustive tutorial on spreadsheets. So let's start by visiting the LibreOffice website to download and install LibreOffice, and we'll take it forward from there. So you can reach the LibreOffice website by typing in www.libreoffice.org in your web browser window. This is the opening screen of the website. You can see this website in many different languages. All you need to do is to just come here and click on this Download Now button. So when you do that, you are taken to the download page, and here you can download LibreOffice 7.4, which is the latest version for Windows. It's also available for Windows 32-bit. There are versions for Mac OS, and there are packages for Linux, Debian, and RPM. So you can make your choice. It tries to find out what system you are using and then automatically make a guess. So all you need to do is to just click on the download button. So I'm going to do that, and within a few seconds, your download should start. Now, while that download is continuing, what you can also do is to come here and click on this help for offline use. This is a very small file, but it will make help files available to you offline. So just click on this, and this download should also start. So your two files are now downloading, the help pack and also the LibreOffice 7.4 installer. If you want LibreOffice on your mobile phone, you can just come here and have a look. So LibreOffice for Android and iOS is available, but it's not called as LibreOffice. If you click on this link, you will see that it's called as LibreOffice, and this is available for both Android and iOS. So this is how the LibreOffice looks like, and you can download it from respective Play stores. On this page, you can read a little bit more about LibreOffice. Collabora, by the way, is one of the certified developers for LibreOffice. So you can go to the Apple Play Store or the Google Play Store and download LibreOffice, and you will have LibreOffice on your mobile phone. Also here, you will see that if you are using Linux, you have LibreOffice as a Flatpak, Snap, and App Image. So just wanted to share this with you. Files are downloading. So once the download is complete, you will see these two files in your folder. One is the LibreOffice 7.4 installer, and the second is the LibreOffice 7.4 help pack installer. So the LibreOffice 7.4 is 347 MB and the help pack is 2 MB. Just click on LibreOffice installer first and install LibreOffice. Just follow these screen instructions and LibreOffice will be installed in just under a minute. I'm going to cancel this because I already have LibreOffice on my machine. After you have installed LibreOffice 7.4, you can then click on the second download, which is the help pack installer. So you can just come and click on this and then just keep following screen instructions to install the help pack as well. So once you are done, you will have LibreOffice 7.4 on your computer. This is a completely free and open source program that gets updated very frequently. So new features keep arriving almost at the frequency of 3 months. So let's now start LibreOffice. So as you start LibreOffice, this is the screen that you will see. If you are new to LibreOffice and trying it for the first time, Writer is LibreOffice's equivalent for Microsoft Word. Calc is LibreOffice equivalent for Microsoft Excel. Impress is the LibreOffice equivalent for PowerPoint. You can use Draw to create graphics. You can use Math to write equations in your documents. And Base is the equivalent of Microsoft Access. So all this is completely open source and free. We are of course interested in Calc in this video. So we are going to come here and click on Calc spreadsheet. So this is the opening screen of LibreOffice Calc, and this looks quite similar to Microsoft Excel. Before we move forward, I would like to mention one important point. Microsoft Excel files can be opened in LibreOffice Calc without any problem, and LibreOffice Calc files can be opened in Excel without any problem. LibreOffice Calc files use the .ods extension, which is Open Document Spreadsheet format, while many of you would already be aware that Microsoft Excel uses .xlsx extension. The important point here is that Calc can open Excel and Excel can open Calc files without a problem. So as I mentioned earlier, the interface looks similar to Microsoft Excel. The user interface, however, appears to be different. So we can customize that quite easily. So you can come to View and then click on User Interface. This opens up a dialog. And all we have to do is to choose Tabbed. There are some other options here, and you can explore them later on. So just choose Tabbed, and you can just come here and apply it to Calc. If you choose Apply to All, the tabbed interface will become available and visible in all LibreOffice packages. I'm going to come here and click on Apply to Calc, and you can now see a tabbed interface available. So you can click on a tab and then you have a lot of actions that you can perform on that particular tab. So this looks quite similar to Microsoft Excel, and people who have been using Microsoft Excel will find this working environment quite familiar. You can just keep clicking on tabs and options will become available for that particular tab. You can also see that at the end of each tab, there is a little drop down. So if you're not able to find something that you are looking for amongst the tab options, you can come and click on this drop down and you will see more options visible to you. So this is for every tab. If you come on the Insert tab, for example, you will have a small drop down menu at the end. So you can click on this drop down here and have additional options. Of course, you also have the menu here. So you can always click on it and have access to all the options. If you don't like the menu, you can always switch it off by clicking on the menu bar icon right here. So just click on it once and the menu will disappear and you are left only with the tabbed interface. If you want to bring the menu back again, click on this button one more time and the menu will be visible. I personally prefer to have both of them, that is the tabbed interface and also the menu visible. So on the right hand side, you will also see a hamburger icon on the ribbon. So when you click on it, you have access to the user interface option, the option that we chose from View. And you can always revert to the standard toolbar option if you wanted to, or try some of these. So this option is available from this hamburger menu. And you can also access settings for LibreOffice Calc and LibreOffice from here. So we are now all set to explore LibreOffice Calc. So this is the opening screen of LibreOffice Calc. As most of you would be aware, the rows are numbered and the columns are represented by letters or alphabets or alphabet pairs. And when you click on a cell, every cell has a unique address. The active cell is shown by a highlighted border, and this cell, for example, would have an address of C4, that is column and row. Click on another cell, that cell gets highlighted. This is now the active cell. Whatever you are going to type will appear here, and the address of this cell is D4. So each cell has a unique address, and this address is also shown here in the name box. This is a very useful feature, and I will talk about this a little later on. So whenever you click on something, the address of that particular cell will also be visible inside the name box. So if you select a bunch of cells, we call this a range, and because they are all consecutive, you can see that the name box is showing that this group is starting with C7. This is C7 is the first cell right here, then a colon, and then this group is ending with C12. So this is a range of cells. If you select a bunch of cells, that is expressed as a range, the first cell, colon, and the last cell, and this is also visible in the name box. Up here you will see the formula bar, and when you type a formula inside the cell, that formula will start with an equal to sign, and then you can type in your formula. If you want to increase the dimensions of this box, for example, your formula is a little bit bigger, so you can grab hold of this edge and decrease and increase the size of the formula bar. Apart from formula, every cell can contain a number, or you can write some text inside the cell. So down here, you will see that we are working on sheet 1, but we can add more sheets. So if you click on the plus button here, a new sheet is added. We can add more sheets. So as you keep clicking on the plus button, more sheets get added. You can right click on a tab and rename this sheet to something that is more meaningful and contextual, like say for example sales. So that name appears here. You can always right click on a tab and delete a sheet, so that sheet gets deleted. You can right click on a tab and color code it. So just click on tab color and choose a color. So that tab will then be displayed in a particular color. Right click, tab color, and choose a color. So these tabs will then be displayed in a different color. Down here you see the status bar, and this displays important information. As you make some calculations, things start appearing here. I'll talk about them a little later in this video or in forthcoming videos. A little icon here which is showing you a small floppy disk, and if this is red, it means that you need to save. Usually to save, we will use this icon. Just come and click on it, or use the keyboard shortcut Control S. On the extreme right, you have the zoom slider, so you can zoom in or zoom out from here. And if you click on this button here at the end, you can make further zoom adjustments according to your choice right here. So on the home tab, you will see numerous icons for deleting columns and rows or adding columns and rows right here. So here I have entered 3 values, 1, 2, and 3 in 3 consecutive cells. So if I click on any column and right click, these same buttons are available here as well. So if I choose this one, I can insert a column before this selected column. So one column has been added before this selected column. And if I right click and insert after, one column has been added after the selected column. The same applies for rows. So here I have entered 5 consecutive numbers in 5 rows.
I can select a row, right click, and I can insert a row below. So one row gets inserted below. And I can right click and insert a row above. So one row gets inserted above. If I wanted to insert multiple rows, say for example 3 rows, I can drag and select 3 rows, then right click and insert rows below. So the same button that was inserting one row will now insert 3 rows, or as many rows as you have selected before right clicking and choosing this option. So this is how you can insert multiple rows or columns. A question that is frequently asked is how many rows are there in a sheet? So we can answer this question quite easily. Just click on the first cell, that is cell A1, and then press the control button and the down arrow button on your keyboard. And this takes you to the last row, and the last row is 1048576. So the answer to the question is that there are a million rows in a sheet. We can go back to the first cell, just press the control button and the up arrow key. We can do the same with columns as well. So press the control button and the right arrow key on your keyboard. So we reach the last column, and the total number of columns are around 16,000. So we can come back to the first cell, press the control button and the left arrow key, and we are back again to the first cell. So if you click on this button here, just at the intersection of the first cell, all the cells in this sheet get selected, and you can see here, right down here, that this sheet has a million rows and 16,384 columns. Click on any cell and that selection goes away. Let us try to see the same in Microsoft Excel. So this is Microsoft Excel 2019, and I want to find out how many rows there are. So I can just click on the first cell and then press Control and the down arrow key, exactly the same here. So you will see the exact same number of rows here. Going back, Control and the up arrow key, I'm back again in my first cell, and then I want to see how many columns. So Control and the right arrow key and the exact same number here. So to come back to the first cell, Control and the left arrow key, and if I click on this button, this selects the entire sheet. The status bar does not actually show the number of rows and columns as it shows in Calc. So the point is that Excel has the exact same number of rows and columns per sheet as Calc. And everything that I'm going to show you in this video, you can do in Microsoft Excel in exactly the same way. So if you are used to Microsoft Excel, you will not find it difficult at all to adapt to LibreOffice Calc. So in this tutorial, I will use a small example to show basic operations in LibreOffice Calc. Let's start with a story, the story of Nikita. Nikita is an avid trekker. She treks a lot in Himalayas, and she has decided that she would like to open a business. She's named it Treks and Trails, and she will be taking people who are interested in trekking for treks in the Himalayas. And the tours and trekking company that Nikita wants to start will be based on principles of ecotourism, which would mean that every trek will be conducted in a very responsible manner. People will not disturb nature, they will not leave their trash behind. They will help local communities build their economy, and finally, she will contribute to conservation of these areas. So this is going to be her unique selling point, and she hopes to tick all the right boxes. If you are curious about ecotourism, I will leave a small link in the description box, and you can read a little bit more about ecotourism. Back again to the story. So Nikita is wanting all these dreams to become reality, and so she is thinking now that if she was to start a company, then
she would have to buy a lot of equipment, camping equipment. She will have to hire people, maybe an office on rent, so she would have to pay salaries and other office expenses, and she would definitely need a loan to get started. And with all this on her mind, she is now sitting on the internet trying to do some research. So after a little while, she has come up with some insights. She has found that the competition offers such tours for 15,000 to 18,000. She's also found that she must make about 60,000 per tour to keep the business afloat, given that she would have to pay salaries and she would have to pay installments on her loan. So given all these expenses, she has done some back of the envelope calculations, and she has concluded that she cannot pay more than 15,000 per month for loans because there are a lot of other expenses. So this is one important point for her. So as she's digging deep into her research, she's having some questions. What is the best price that she can offer for her treks? And this would have to be competitive in this price range. What is the most manageable group size? Usually she has found that taking a group of 12 to 14 people would give them individual attention and would make the experience really enjoyable, and that how much loan she should take given her calculations that she cannot pay more than 15,000 per month. So all these numbers are now really confusing, and Nikita needs to come up with some kind of financial plan. She has to bring everything together, and that's where these spreadsheets come into play, and she can find answers to all these questions using tools and functions available on the Calc spreadsheet to give income to local communities such that they are invested in these ventures. She has already spoken to some locals for homestays and struck a deal, and she now wants to do a trial tour to test the waters. So let's capture this story, Nikita's story, in numbers on our Calc sheet. So let's put numbers on our Calc spreadsheet. I would like to mention that all the numbers that I will be using in this tutorial are hypothetical, and I have kept them simple to permit mental calculations. So let me start by giving a title to this sheet. Let me call it Financials. I can of course come here, right click on this tab here and rename this sheet also as Financials. I'm going to now put the first title here, and let's start with pricing. So let me first enter cost per person and number of persons. Notice that as I type here inside the cell, the same text appears here. Now you will recall that as per research that Nikita had done, similar tour packages are being offered by competition for 15,000 to 18,000, and the optimal number of people in a group that is manageable is 12 to 14. So I'm going to put the base figures here, 15,000 and 12. So 15,000 is the cheapest that is offered by the competition, and a group of 12 is a very manageable group. So I have entered the lower figures here. Let us move on further, and I'm going to enter the second heading, and this is going to be revenue, and very particularly gross revenue, which is the amount of money that we will be collecting, 15,000 per person and a group of 12. So the gross revenue will be this figure multiplied by this figure. So you will see that I have entered text in a cell, I have entered numbers in a cell. The third thing that we can enter in a cell is a formula. So whenever we want to perform a calculation, we can enter a formula
and you can start a formula by entering a equal to sign. So to enter a formula, I'm going to come here and click on the formula button, and when I press that button, equal to sign is inserted in this formula bar, and then I can type my formula. So you can also type this equal to sign if you wanted to. So I'm going to come here and click on this cell, which is cell E3, and I'm going to say this is being multiplied by, and the sign for multiplication is asterisk, by this cell. And then just come here and click on this accept button. We now get the result of that calculation. So I can add a little bit of color to this cell to highlight this figure. I'm going to come here and click on this icon and then choose a color. So this cell can be appropriately highlighted. Let's move ahead and let me enter the costs. So I'm going to enter the column titles here. So this is costs, and the column titles will be cost item, individual costs, and group costs. So we are just trying to estimate expenses. So the first item of expense is transportation. So a train journey will be involved here. The participants will have to reach the nearby railway station from where the trek is supposed to start. So I'm putting in train, and from there they will take a bus journey to the base camp from where the trek will actually start. So let us put in the cost. The cost has been estimated to be 3,000 for the train journey and 700 for the bus. You can see that train and bus are part of transportation. So what I can do is I can click on this cell, and using these buttons I can increase or decrease the indent. So I'm going to come here and click on this button to increase the indent and punch this piece of text inside. The train and bus entries are now clear because you can see that they are under the transportation heading. Let us now put the next cost item, and this is boarding, and this has been estimated to be 2,000. Then the next item is lodging, and this has been estimated to be 3,000, and participants will have to hire equipment. Equipment rental will be around 800. We will have to keep some money for miscellaneous expenses like somebody falling ill, so 500 for that. And this tour will be supported by tour guides. They will accompany the group, so every person will have to contribute to their fee, and let us say per person we are entering 1,000. So we have entered individual costs under different cost heads, and we can now come here and calculate the group cost. So basically what we are trying to do is, this is the amount of money that is being charged individually for the train fare, and there are 12 people in the group. So how much money we are spending on the train fare, that needs to come here. And these calculations will be helpful to understand which cost items are going over budget and how we can contain those costs if we wanted to. So what I'm going to do is to come to this cell and then click on my formula button, and then go ahead and click on this and multiply it by the asterisk sign by the total number of people. So this is E12 multiplied by E4. This is E4 and this is E12. So multiplying E12 with E4, and then come here and click on the accept button to get the result. Now I want to repeat the same calculation for bus. So I want to find out how much money collectively we are spending on bus fare. So we want to multiply this with the number of people and have the result here. So one of the options is that I can come and click here and then just enter the formula like I have done for this one. The second option is that I can just come here and grab hold of this dot here, this handle in the bottom right corner of this cell, and then just simply drag this down to copy this formula in the other cells. So once I have reached the last cell, I will just release my left mouse button, and you will see that the formula has actually been copied. If you click on these cells, you will see the formula has been copied, but the results are not what we expect them to be. So let us try to figure out why this is happening, and there is an important lesson in this. So I will come to my first calculation that I copied in the other cells, and Calc provides an interesting and very useful tool to check your formulas. So just click in the cell and then come here in the formula box and click on the formula once. So I'm going to come here and click on the formula, and when you do that, it will show you the formula inside the cell, and every item of that formula or element of that formula will be differently colored. So as you can see, E12, which is this value, is being multiplied by E4, which is this value. So E4 is being shown with a red rectangle, and E12 is being shown with a blue rectangle, and these two values are being multiplied, and this is perfectly correct. So this is E12 multiplied by E4, and I'm going to come here and click accept. So this is the result. But just see what happens when we drag this one cell below, and I'm going to come here and click on this and then click on my formula. So you will see that as we have moved one cell below trying to copy the formula, E12 has automatically become E13. So this is E13 and this is correct. And E4, which was this, has now become E5. So as we drag this formula onto the next cell, E12 becomes E13 and E4 becomes E5, something that we did not want. We wanted E12 to become E13, but we wanted E4 to remain as it is. So this kind of addressing is called as relative addressing, and when you write cell addresses as E13 multiplied by E5, this is called as relative addressing. When you drag this formula down, E13 becomes E14 and E5 will become E6 in the next cell. So what we want is, we want to keep one side of the formula rolling. E12 should become E13, E13 should become E14 when we copy this formula in the cell below. But the second part of the formula should remain constant and should always point to this particular cell, which is E4. So to fix this, we are just going to come to this part of the formula and insert a dollar sign before E, and then insert a dollar sign before 5. So this is $E $5, and this kind of an address is called as an absolute address. By inserting the dollar signs, we have frozen this cell, and now when we will copy this formula down, the reference to this cell will always be constant and the other cell will keep changing. So let me just remove all this, and I'm back again to my first calculation, and I'm going to make this part as an absolute address. I can just come here and type $E $4, or otherwise there is a little neat trick. You can just come and click anywhere in this second part and then just press function key F4. So when you do that, function key F4 on your keyboard, it automatically inserts the dollar signs and saves you a little bit of typing. So one part is relative, which is free, and the other part is absolute, and this part will not change. So I'm going to come here and click on this accept sign, and I have my calculation. And now I can just simply go ahead and drag this formula for all the cells where I want to copy this formula, and then just simply drop it, and we have correct calculations. So if we come here and click on the formula, you will see that one part has moved, E12 has become E13, but 700 is being multiplied by 12, which being referred by E4, something that we have frozen. Likewise, if I come and click here and then go ahead and click on this formula, you will see the same thing. E14 has become E15 as I copied this formula, but E4 remains constant, and therefore all answers are now correct. So dragging is convenient if you have very few cells to copy the formula in. But suppose if you wanted to copy this formula in 500 or 5000 rows below this calculation, then it will be impossible for you to drag and copy this formula. So there is another neat trick. Let me just remove these. So come to your first cell where you have made the calculation, and instead of grabbing hold of this little dot in the bottom right corner and dragging it down, just double click on it. So when you double click on it, so if there were 5000 rows under this cell, they would all get populated within a second, and you don't have to drag the formula in every cell. So this is a neat little trick. Let us now come and quickly do the totals. So for this column, I'm going to come here and click on this button here. And from the drop down, I'm going to come here and choose sum. So Calc tries to understand what you are trying to sum automatically, and it has demarcated that with a blue rectangle. So this is absolutely correct. So I'm going to come here and click on the accept button, and I have this answer. So I'm charging 15,000 rupees per group member, and I am spending 11,000 of that 15,000, and I am therefore saving 4,000 per person. Let me copy this formula here as well, and we have a total for this. So of the total money that we have received, this amount is going in expenses, and the remainder will be what we have earned out of this entire exercise. So let me just put that also in here, and let me call that as income. I'm going to come here and call it net revenue, which I'm going to enter here. So this is the amount that we have collected minus the amount that we have spent. So I'm going to come and click on the equal to sign, and then so this cell minus this cell, and accept. So we are saving 48,000 from this tour if we are charging every participant 15,000, and the total number of people in the group is 12. Now, if you recall, Nikita had done some calculations, and it was mentioned that she needed to save 60,000 to make the business viable, because she would have to pay loans and would have to give rent and salary. So this is the amount that she definitely needs to save. So let me just come here and highlight this cell, and let me just change the color and also fill it up with some yellow color. So what we want to do now is to solve this problem. We want to see 60,000 in this cell as net revenue, and this can be done in two ways. One is that we increase the cost that we are charging per person. So we can play with this number till this value becomes 60,000, or otherwise we can keep the cost per person frozen to 15,000, and we can try to include more people in this group such that this number then reaches 60,000. So we can do this quite easily using the goal seek tool that Calc provides. So the first thing I will do is to click in this cell and then go to the tools tab and then choose goal seek. So when I click on goal seek, I have three boxes to fill. First box is the formula cell. So this is basically the address of this cell. So when I click this cell and then invoked goal seek, the first entry is automatically filled for me. It is F22, and this is absolute addressing. So this is referring to this cell. It says make this cell, and you have to give a target value. So I want to see 60,000 in this cell, and in the third box it wants to know which number should I play with to reach this particular figure. So I'm coming and clicking this, and I'm basically telling goal seek to play with this number till this number becomes 60,000. So let us just come here and press OK. And it comes back and tells me that if you were to charge 16,000 per person, then you should be able to get a net revenue of 60,000. So there are two buttons that I can click. One is yes. So if I click on yes, this 15,000 will be replaced with 16,000. And if I click on no, no changes will be made to the sheet. So this is not a big deal, and we will just go ahead and click yes to accept the solution. So as you can see, this 15,000 now becomes 16,000, and as a result of which the net revenue is 60,000. So there might be a case where people might think that 16,000 is 1,000 more than the cheapest offering by competition. So one possibility is that you cannot be so expensive. So let us keep the price to 15,000 and let us try increasing the group size. So we can repeat the same exercise once again. So I'm going to come here and click on this cell, and then go to the Tools tab and then click on Goal Seek. So the first entry is already filled for me. I can also type this entry if I wanted to. All you have to do is just type $F$22, or otherwise click on this, then click on this cell, and then click on this button once again to enter this particular value. But because I clicked and then invoked goal seek, this value is already filled up for me. So I want this to become 60,000, and this time around I want goal seek to play with this number, the number of persons included in the group. So it will keep changing this number till this value becomes 60,000. So I will just go ahead and click on OK, and it comes back with the result that if you are willing to take 15 people in the group, you should be able to get 48,000. Let me accept this solution. You can see here that if you want to keep the price fixed at 15,000, you will have to take a group of 15 people to reach this particular figure. Now, as you can see, this is not the optimal number. So I will have to intervene manually here, and let me just say that what happens if I take 14 people, and you will see that the calculation has changed here, and this is now 56. It is still short by 4,000. So what we are going to do now is let us perform the goal seek once again and try to see how we can reach 60,000 by altering the price. So let me come and click on this cell here, then go to Tools and then go to Goal Seek, and I'm going to type 60,000 as I have done before, and this time I want it to play with the price once again, and I'm going to go ahead and press OK. So it comes back and says that if you are willing to charge 15,286, you should be able to meet this goal. So I'm going to go ahead and press yes. So it has entered that particular value here. And this seems to be a reasonable solution because it is marginally above the lowest offering, and the group size is also what we had desired. So if you click on this cell, because this is a calculation, it has a lot many decimal points here. So you can remove the decimal points by this particular icon if you wanted to here, delete decimal points, or add decimal points using this button here. I can round this off to 15,300 if I wanted to. Then I'm going to leave it here, and this seems to be a reasonable pricing. It is close to the lowest that the competition is charging, and the group size is also very manageable. So we can use the goal seek tool to solve such kind of problems. One issue with the goal seek tool is that it permits you to work with only one variable, but if you wanted to involve more than one variable, then there are other tools, and in one of the subsequent videos I will try to talk about them. So this is goal seek, tools, goal seek, and it is the same in Microsoft Excel, except that it is available from the data tab in Microsoft Excel, and everything else is exactly the same. So let us see one more application of goal seek in solving the loan amount issue that we had highlighted in the story. So here I have another sheet, and this is for the loan problem that we had highlighted in the story. So Nikita wants to take a loan, and she has approached two banks, and they are willing to offer 1 million each. And for the bank number one, you can see here that they have offered an interest of 7% per annum, and this loan will be for 5 years, and there will be 12 installments to pay back every year. So in total, there will be 60 installments. For bank 2, the amount is the same, but the interest rate is 6%, but the duration is 8 years. So there will be 12 repayments annually, and this will go on for 8 years. So let us try to do some simple calculations here before we will fill in this sheet. So this is annual interest. So we will like to calculate what is the interest on monthly payments. So all we have to do is to divide this figure by the number of installments in a year to arrive at monthly interest. So I'm going to come here and click on the equal to sign and click on this, divided by this, and accept. So this is 0.58%, and in this box you can convert any number to a different format. In this particular case, I'm using the percent format to display the number as a percent. Likewise, I'm just going to grab this handle and copy this formula here. So this works out to be 0.5%, which is basically 6 divided by 12. So this pertains to the total number of installments over 5 years. So this is again 12 per year, and this will go on for 5 years. So this figure will be this multiplied by this. So let us just put that as a formula. This asterisk for multiplication multiplied by this. And we'll click on the accept button. So you will see that this is 60, 12 into 5, and let us copy this here. So this at a lower rate of interest for a longer period will have 96 installments for repayment, and this at a higher rate of interest will have less number of installments, that is 60 installments over 5 years. So let us now calculate the monthly repayment amount here. So you will recall that during her research, she had done some back of the envelope calculations, and she had made a calculation that she will not be able to repay installments greater than 15,000 if the business has to be sustainable. So this is one capping that we will have to maintain here. So let us just come here and try to calculate the monthly repayment amount to repay this loan in 60 installments over 5 years at this interest rate. So to calculate this monthly repayment amount, we can use the PMT function, and this is the same in Excel. So let us enter this as a formula. I'm going to come here and click on this and then type PMT. So the moment you do this, you see the syntax of the PMT function. So we can start with open bracket, and you will see that I have to supply some values here. The first 3 values are mandatory. The other 2 values are optional. So we need to supply the rate of interest per month, then the total number of payments in which the loan will be repaid, which is 60, and what is the present value of the loan amount, that is the loan amount. So we will have to enter this particular figure. So as we keep entering these values, this little black arrow will keep moving and indicating what value you have to now enter. So I'm going to come here and click on my monthly interest rate, then come here and put a comma. So the black arrow is now wanting me to enter this particular value. So this is the total number of repayment installments. So I will come here and click on this, and then finally the loan amount. So I'm going to come here and click on this. Notice that the black arrow is now pointing to PV. So I'm going to come here and click on this, and I will just then close this function and then click on the accept button. So to get rid of this loan in 60 installments over 5 years at this interest rate, the monthly installment will be 19,801, which is greater than what Nikita has calculated that she will be willing to pay. Now you see a negative sign in this number because this is a cash outflow from your side. If you are not comfortable with negative numbers, just click on this cell, insert a negative sign before PMT, and this number should vanish away. So this is now a positive number, and this is the amount that you will have to pay. If you want help on the PMT function, or if you want to read a little bit more about the PMT function, just come to help. And because we have installed the local help pack, you can either press function key F1 or click here on the help menu, LibreOffice help. So this is going to take you to the local help file, and you can just come here and type in PMT. So you will see a lot of PMT functions. We are interested in this one. So just click on it and you will have all details about this particular function with an example. Let us copy this formula here as well. So here the monthly loan repayment is within the limits that Nikita wanted. But let us carry forward this calculation. So this is what we are paying back monthly. How much do we pay annually? So all we need to do is to multiply this with 12. So we are going to come here and click on this and then multiply it with payments per year. So this is what we will be paying in 1 year. Let us extend this calculation to this side also. And then finally, what is the total amount that we will be repaying? So it is this, because this is what you will be paying back in 1 year multiplied by the number of years. So we will enter this formula. So we will come here and multiply and then go ahead and click on 5 for this one. So this is the total amount that we will be repaying on a loan of 1 million. So as you can see, this option is over a longer period with lesser interest, but you ultimately end up paying much more than this option. So it is clear that if we want to maintain a capping of 15,000, we will have to reduce the loan amount. So we can use the PMT function here to determine how much loan we should be taking such that our monthly repayment does not exceed 15,000. So we are going to come here and then do the exact same thing that we did before. Go to tools and click on goal seek and set the target value to 15,000. So we want to see 15,000 in this box, and we want goal seek to play with this loan amount. So it should come back and tell us how much loan we should be seeking such that this figure does not breach 15,000 per month. So I'm going to come here and press OK, and it has come back with an answer. I'm going to come back to my home tab and remove the decimals from here. So if we take this much amount of loan from bank A, we will not be breaching the 15,000 cap that Nikita has put. So this is another example how we can use goal seek to find out how much loan can be taken. So goal seek is a great tool and you can use it. The only drawback is that it permits you to play with only one variable, and in subsequent videos I will show how we can involve more variables to solve such kind of problems. So I hope that you found this tutorial interesting, and I also hope that it can get you started on LibreOffice Calc. In part 2 of this Calc series,
I will demonstrate some other basic LibreOffice Calc functionalities, and I hope to see you there in a few days. Thanks a lot for watching.